The uterus has a thick, muscular wall and is very small. In a nulliparous woman, or a woman who's never had a child, the uterus is only about 7 centimeters long by 4 to 5 centimeters wide, but it can expand to hold a 4-kilogram baby. The lining of the uterus is called the endometrium and has a rich capillary supply to bring food to any embryo that might implant there. The bottom end of the uterus is called the cervix. The cervix secretes mucus, the consistency of which varies with the stages in her menstrual cycle. At ovulation, this cervical mucus is clear, runny, and conductive to sperm. Post-ovulation, the mucus gets thick and pasty to block sperm. Enough of this mucus is produced that it is possible for a woman to touch a finger to the opening of her vagina and obtain some of it. If she does this on a daily basis, she can use the information thus gained, along with daily temperature records, to tell where in her cycle she is. If a woman becomes pregnant, the cervical mucus forms a plug to seal off the uterus and protect the developing baby. The vagina is a relatively thin-walled chamber. It serves as a repository for sperm. Note that unlike the male, the female has separate opening for the urinary tract and reproductive system. These openings are covered externally by 2 sets of skin folds. The thinner, inner folds are called the labia minora, and the thicker, outer ones are called the labia majora. The labia minora contain erectile tissue like that in the penis, thus change shape when the woman is sexually aroused. The opening around the genital area is called the vestibule. There is a membrane called the hymen that partially covers the opening of the vagina. In women, the openings of the vagina and urethra are susceptible to bacterial infections if fecal bacteria are wiped toward them. At the anterior end of the labia, under the pubic bone, is the clitoris, the female equivalent of the penis. This small structure contains erectile tissue and many nerve endings in a sensitive glands within a prepuce, which totally encloses the glands. Now let's move on to dental health and oral anatomy. The anatomy of the oral cavity is particularly challenging because there are many different types of tissues located in this relatively small area. The oral cavity begins at the lips and extends backwards to the front part of the tonsils. Beginning at the front of the upper and the lower lips is a very specialized tissue called the vermilion border, which lines the lips. The sensory nerve endings here are plentiful to support kissing and nutritional pleasure. Once inside the mouth, this entire region is coated with a lining that is specialized to provide lubrication of the oral cavity, a mucous membrane that secretes mucus and protective enzymes. The bone of the lower jaw, called the mandible, and of the upper jaw, called the maxilla, are also included in this region as well as the teeth. The lining of the mouth becomes thick, overlying this bone for the added protection against abrasion from food and chewing. Directly behind the lower teeth is a smooth gutter known as the floor of the mouth. Here, the lower saliva gland empties saliva through the specialized ducts just under the tongue. The front 2/3 of the tongue are also included within the oral cavity. The tongue consists of the specialized thick lining on the top and sides, which contains taste buds. Underneath this are numerous specialized and coordinated muscles that provide movement of the tongue. The last part of the oral cavity, located in the rear of this region, is the retromolar trigone. This is a firm area just behind the back molars in the lower jaw that sometimes causes complications and health challenges from erupting wisdom teeth that collects germs between the tooth and flap of gum tissue. This area needs to be well cleaned using oral irrigators. The salivary glands that provide lubrication and secretions for digestion aid also in speech, swallowing, and more. The tongue and the mouth push the food backwards towards the swallowing tube called the esophagus. Finally, our highly coordinated and specialized speech which is so important to communication, would not be possible without the structures of the oral cavity and its lubricants. Moreover, look at someone's smile. It's important in self-esteem and confidence in social interaction. Now there's another fascinating thing about the oral cavity that most dentists never learn. Dental schools don't desire to teach, and the public would be best informed about. That is, for every tooth, there is an energy meridian that is associated with it, that links your dental health or dental problems with acupuncture energy meridians and general systemic health concerns. In fact, a good dentist will take continuing education courses to discover this grossly neglected knowledge that has been used for thousands of years in Oriental medicine to help diagnose and treat ailments, most naturally, energetically, or nutritionally, using herbal formulas, and since the last century, using homeopathy. Here, for example, is one of many developed dental acupuncture reference charts, developed by numerous people over the years. You can see why, from this chart, I consider teeth like fuses in electrical circuits. When a tooth becomes diseased and symptomatic, it's a pretty good indication that body organs and organ systems related to the symptoms are in bioenergetic distress. Symptoms include electrical shock-like pains in teeth, for apparently no reason, or hot and cold sensitivity not apparently linked to receding gums or periodontal diseases. Sweet sensitivity in a tooth always indicates tooth decay, as does sometimes hot and cold sensitivity. And this is fundamentally caused by acid attacks, or too many H pluses, robbing the electrons from the CaOH, the calcium hydroxide crystal mineral matrix of the tooth. That is, this hydroxyapatite, hard bone-like material in teeth under the tooth enamel, called dentin, starts dissolving due to the robbing of electrons from the hydroxyl group to balance the chemistry of the area. So you can see how biochemistry and even dental anatomy and oral pathology, like everything else in the universe, depends on electrochemistry and piezoelectricity determined by electrons, acidity versus alkalinity, or simply polarity, with unnatural charge balances being fundamental to diseases of every kind. This is also why using Rife technology, such as the Miracle 6 frequency generator, available through the Miracle 6 Study Club of the Healthy World Store catalog online, whereby with this machine, energy electrons are added to the system to restore balance and harmony. For example, notice the urogenital system is represented by the front teeth, called the incisors. These teeth, or the front area of the mouth, even on the skin, often become symptomatic in women during menopause. And often you will see cold sores, herpes virus expressions, being demonstrated on the lips right around this area. So there you have it, the basic anatomy, physiology, and metabolism associated with general and oral health, and a bit of information as to why HealthyWorldAffiliates.com and or HealthyWorldStore.com products are health-enhancing and even life-saving. Beginning with our top-selling products, let's look at OxySilver. OxySilver has 528 Hz frequency of energy in it. This makes it completely unique in the industry. It's totally remarkable and awesome. It is an effective alternative to risky vaccinations and deadly antibiotics. It promotes vaccine-free natural nutritional immunity against everything Big Pharma wants to put out, and their FDA Gestapo wants to support. The FDA wants to claim that OxySilver is a drug since its competitors claim their silver hydrosol products cure and prevent infectious diseases without immunization toxicity. These include bacterial, viral, fungal, and parasite infections. However, OxySilver is not a drug. It is a mineral water, and for all practical purposes, it's a holy water. And it is far stronger than the best-selling hydrosols because it not only is made using a patented process first developed for NASA to keep astronauts healthy in space, but contains the 528 Hz frequency resonance of love, the universal healer. Plus, we potentiate or potentize oxysilver, like a good homeopathic, using the breath of the earth, lava-heated steam from the Big Island of Hawaii, relaying the intense purgative and restorative energy signature, or powerful good vibration that the Big Island of Hawaii is famous for. So oxysilver is far and away the most potent silver hydrosol in the world today, useful for protection and recovery. Some of its features include a scientifically tested electrodynamic silver-oxygen unique molecule. Technically, oxysilver is classified as an oligodynamic silver-oxygen covalently bonded, structured, clustered hydrosol. That is, there's a unique covalent bond that bonds the silver, the microfine particle of silver, tightly to the oxygen in water, creating a huge electron cloud of oxygen, as well as the capacity to have a polarization of the surface membrane of the pathogens, the germs, such as the viruses and bacteria that we intend to kill. It actually pulls, because of the polarity, the electrons off of that surface membrane far better, far more powerfully than any other silver hydrosol in the world. That's what makes oxysilver so intense, concentrated, and powerful, as opposed to other silver hydrosols that, for example, say that they have 10,000 parts per million or 2,000 parts per million or even a couple hundred parts per million. Oxysilver accomplishes far more using just a few parts per million. Let me reemphasize. Oxysilver serves as the world's first mineral water alternative to risky vaccinations and immunizations that corrupt natural immunity through heavy metal toxicity, autoimmune hypersensitivity, and GMO-associated pathogenesis. Oxysilver includes unique molecular structuring, atomic resonance energetics, and polarity electrochemistry, providing state-of-the-art, natural, safe, and effective protection against the critters you seek to destroy. All of the FDA drug classification entities, while leaving most probiotics additionally protected. Oxysilver creates a new class of mineral waters unlike any silver product ever produced, any broad-spectrum antibiotic in existence, or any energetic nutrient ever developed. This is potentized by 528 Hz frequency. We are actually advancing a revolution or evolution in health science because we're making it possible to effectively remedy all chronic diseases, especially infectious diseases, affected by oxygen, because oxysilver delivers a double punch with both silver and energetically enhanced oxygen working for you. It is an energy-delivering, oxygenating, water-based, silver-ionized, frequency-resonating formula that can only be produced in a special non-nuclear reactor that was first developed for space missions and sustaining life in space, when vital oxygen levels are low, health risks are high, and pure water is required. Now, you can use oxysilver because it's unique in a very unique way. The way I use it is in two different ways. At the first sign of a cold or flu, you know, that first inkling you get that you might be coming down with something, I take oxysilver. I take 3 capfuls, I close my eyes, I say a prayer for restoration of my health, and as soon as I put in the first capful into my mouth, under my tongue, where you've just learned there's a tremendous amount of blood vessels and absorption of that energy and that high potency frequency resonance of 528 into your body chemistry, into your bloodstream, virtually immediately. Instantaneously then, that energetics of pure 528 frequency dynamics moves throughout every cell, every genetic strand of your body, and literally ousts the dissonance, the aberrant frequencies causing dis-ease. So I actually can see this energetically, visually, by seeing light flow throughout my body when I take oxysilver this way. I highly recommend you use it as well. And in fact, we guarantee that if you use oxysilver this way, if you come down with anything after this, in other words, if you actually get sick and get the flu, we'll give you your money back on the product.